If you are self-employed and skipping your CPF match, you are quietly digging a $244,000 hole for your future self. That gap is not just a rounding error. It is the difference between a secure sanctuary and working forever. Today, we are tearing down exactly how to self-fund that match and reclaim your retirement. Let's be honest, this is a topic that's often discussed amongst the self-employed in Singapore. My friend actually asked me about it, so I've decided to create this piece of content to help those who are searching for this information. The fix is real and it is accessible. The self-employed can completely replace the missing 17% employer CPF match. You do it by building a system, zero-fee CPF voluntary contributions paired with treasury bill ladders. Contribute 1,000 Singapore dollars a month for 30 years, and you arrive at approximately 754,000 Singapore dollars at age 65. That beats commercial bank products by over 170,000 Singapore dollars after fees. The key is self-funding the match monthly so your sanctuary is never compromised by high-fee investment-linked policies. The edge is massive once you understand the mechanics. So let us get into the structural disadvantage that creates this gap. The 17% shortfall becomes blindingly obvious once you see it. If you are a freelancer or business owner only contributing the mandatory MediSave minimum, you are operating with a handicap that compounds into a 244,800 Singapore dollar hole by age 65. And here is the part that catches most people. The hidden trap is not just the missing employer match. It is the bank-sold investment-linked policies that penalize you heavily when freelance income drops to zero during dry spells. CPF voluntary contributions and treasury bill ladders accommodate the volatile reality of freelance life. Commercial products do not. Which brings us to stage 1, the compounding window between age 30 and 54. The MediSave-only trap. Paying only MediSave often kills the compounding window for the self-employed professional. Under the 2026 CPF rules, the ordinary wage ceiling has moved to 8,000 Singapore dollars a month. But many freelancers still only contribute the mandatory component for their net trade income. The forensic reality is this. By ignoring voluntary contributions to the special account, a professional forfeits a risk-free 4% return as of January 2026. Compare that to a 6-month treasury bill rate of 1.47%. The risk premium is not small. Now let us apply the 5-layer audit to the special account. The policy fact. Interest rate maintained at 4%. Historically, over the past 5 years, this floor held firm and has only recently nudged upward to reflect the higher rate environment. Globally, Australia's superannuation guarantee mandates an 11.5% contribution, but those funds are exposed to market volatility. Singapore's special account offers a guaranteed floor. Forward scenario, a 10% policy shift dropping the rate to 3.6% would require increasing your monthly voluntary contributions by approximately 110 Singapore dollars. For a beadok designer earning 5,000 Singapore dollars a month. Ignoring this creates a significant wallet impact. Let us put the options side by side. And here is what the data actually shows. 4 forensic options for a 1,000 Singapore dollar monthly contribution over 30 years. CPF voluntary all, gross return of 4%, zero fees, final value 760,608 Singapore dollars. That is the best safe base. The Iggy pick is the CPF voluntary contribution plus treasury bill mix, 4.05% net return, approximately 754,000 Singapore dollars in final value, with liquidity through 6-month ladders. That combination gives you both the compounding power and the flexibility to handle lean months. The bank SEP or investment-linked policy option, this is the fee trap. Roughly 2.1% in fees, severe surrender penalties, dragging final value down to 581,421 Singapore dollars. The gap between the Iggy pick and the bank product is not a small rounding error. It is 172,000 Singapore dollars. That is the cost of the wrong product. The most dangerous myth I see in the heartland is that MediSave is the only CPF account that matters. By only filling the MediSave bucket, you are building a hospital fund while starving the retirement kitchen. The 17% employer match you skip by not contributing voluntarily is actually a 17% tax on your future self. Without that zero-fee compounding in the special account, the retirement plan is missing its structural steel. And let's be honest, you cannot out-hustle 30 years of missing compounding no matter how hard you work in your later years. Which brings us to stage 2. The pivot point between age 55 and 64 is often the most misunderstood milestone for the self-employed investor. At 55, the CPF special account closes. Those savings move to the retirement account to meet the full retirement sum. The full retirement sum for 2026 stands at 220,400 Singapore dollars. Historically, we have seen this rise from 181,000 Singapore dollars in 2020, a predictable 3.5% annual escalation to account for long-term inflation. That escalation is not stopping. You have to plan for it. 5-layer audit on the full retirement sum. Global comparison, unlike the United Kingdom state pension, a largely fixed benefit based on years of contribution starting at age 66, Singapore's retirement account framework allows personal choice between the basic, full, and enhanced retirement sums. Forward scenario, a 10% policy increase in the full retirement sum would require an additional 22,040 Singapore dollars in your ordinary or special account at 55 just to avoid a shortfall. The wallet impact for a heartland household is profound. Meeting the enhanced retirement sum instead of the full retirement sum creates an additional payout of approximately 800 Singapore dollars every month for life. Stage 3 is where everything comes together. The drawdown architecture for age 65 and beyond. Retirement for the self-employed is not a hard stop. It is a transition of income sources. The drawdown architecture integrates 3 distinct pillars: guaranteed income from CPF Life, penalty-free SRS drawdowns from age 62, and stable passive yield from SGX dividends. A sanctuary is achieved only when CPF Life plus your SRS and dividend income clears your monthly expense baseline. Based on a full retirement sum of 220,400 Singapore dollars, the estimated monthly payout under the CPF Life Standard Plan is approximately 1,780 Singapore dollars. 5-layer audit on CPF Life. Globally, this guaranteed annuity model is far more reliable than Malaysia's EPF, which allows lump sum withdrawals that often result in retirees exhausting their funds within 5 to 10 years. Forward scenario, a 10% decrease in the CPF Life payout ratio reduces monthly income by 178 Singapore dollars, requiring an additional 40,000 Singapore dollars in SGX holdings to bridge the gap. The wallet impact for a retiree in Hougang, that 1,780 Singapore dollar payout covers approximately 60% of basic household expenses. The remainder must come from dividends or SRS drawdowns. Build that layer now, not later. Stage 4. The legacy layer. And this is the one that most self-employed individuals completely miss. CPF savings are not covered by a will. A specific CPF nomination is required to ensure your funds reach the people you intend. The wallet impact of ignoring this is severe. For a 500,000 Singapore dollar CPF balance, no nomination means thousands of dollars in administrative fees via the Public Trustee's office and a distribution delay of several months, locking up capital when your family needs it most. Now let us test this framework with a worked example. David, 52 years old freelance graphic designer in Hougang, earning a net trade income of 6,000 Singapore dollars a month. His goal is 3,000 Singapore dollars a month at retirement. He passes the floor test for his CPF Life Standard Plan at 1,730 Singapore dollars. His SRS and SGX dividend income also pass their respective hurdle rates, but his total projected income of 2,663 Singapore dollars falls short. The missing employer gap leaves him 337 Singapore dollars short every single month. David's sanctuary is not built. His SN score is negative. On the forensic floor standards behind this test, when projecting SGX dividend income, I apply a conservative forensic floor of 3.2%. The current treasury bill sits at 1.47%. I do not lower my standards to match a temporary rate environment. My floor stays at 3.2%. So that holdings can withstand a return to long-term average rates. The minimum yield hurdle for any SGX holding is 4.7%. That is the 3.2% floor plus a 150 basis point risk premium. If it does not clear that bar, it does not belong in a retirement portfolio. David's plan looks passable on the surface, but it carries a silent risk: income volatility. Because he is self-employed, any dip in contracts means he stops the voluntary contributions that fuel his CPF Life growth. He is 337 Singapore dollars short each month because he has not priced in the slow erosion of purchasing power over time. A plan that barely covers today's expenses is not a retirement plan. So what does this mean for you? A retirement plan that only meets your current expenses is a plan to go broke slowly. That is the forensic punchline, and it is harsh because it needs to be. You should not be working through this alone. The difference between building a true retirement sanctuary and falling into a yield trap is often decided in a single trading session. While free subscribers read yesterday's story, Iggy's elite investors are already cross-checking the next setup together in real time. If you want to stop guessing and start running the numbers like an analyst, join via the link in the description. For just 9 Singapore dollars a month, less than a kopi and kaya toast at Raffles Place, you get access to the Red Zone watchlist and complete institutional-grade cheat sheets built on the 5-layer audit. The goal is simple: stop being exit liquidity. Start being the analyst for your own portfolio. The self-employed reality is volatile enough without flying blind on your retirement architecture. 3 precise moves to execute the strategic action plan. First, implement a tax-first voluntary contribution. Fund MediSave first to secure maximum tax relief while meeting mandatory requirements. Second, build a 6-month treasury bill ladder with staggered maturities. This ensures that even in months where freelance income is zero, capital is maturing to fund CPF contributions without touching emergency buffers. Third, avoid the bank set fee trap. Commercial plans with fees exceeding 2% fail the 3.2% forensic floor before a single dollar compounds. They drag your net return before the compounding even begins. So what does this mean for you? If you are self-employed, your retirement is not a policy guarantee from a corporation. It is a critical business objective that you must actively manage. Check your 2026 contribution room. Ask yourself honestly, if you stopped working tomorrow, how many months could your CPF Life floor support your current lifestyle? I am Iggy, forensic investor ranked 8th on Tiger Brokers among Singapore retail investors, and your guide through the SGX market jungle. If you want the full breakdown before the free version drops, Iggy's elite investors get 0-day access, link in the description. The window is already open. You have 7 days before this embargo lifts and the market digests this data. So join Iggy's elite investors via the link in the description to secure your sanctuary today. This content is produced for educational and informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. I am a retail investor who applies forensic analysis to my own portfolio and shares that process publicly. Nothing here constitutes a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any security, and no specific target prices or personalized financial advice are offered. All data is sourced from public filings and verified sources. Where data is unverified, it is explicitly flagged. All investments carry risk, including the potential loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. If you are making investment decisions involving CPF, SRS, or personal capital, please conduct your own due diligence or consult a mass licensed financial advisor before committing funds.